Welcome, everybody. I'm Sofie Marin, founder and CEO of Arts Dynamics. And today I've got the great privilege of being here together with my mentor, membership extraordinaire, Stu McLaren, who was the one who actually helped me and us secure our first member a few years ago. Now, it was back during the pandemic. Stu, it's such a privilege, such a great honor to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks, buddy. Great to be here.
It's awesome. So much has happened since it's 2025 right now, and we are in the midst of a big launch. So tell me what's going on in Stewland. What's new in the membership space?
Well, I a couple months ago released my brand new book, Predictable Profits. So that was a big deal. My whole goal and mission is to help more entrepreneurs and business owners add recurring revenue into their business. And this book was a gigantic leap forward in doing that. So that consumed a lot of time, energy, and effort. And then now we're shifting gears and we're getting ready for our annual free workshop where we host tens of thousands of people. And in the free workshop, we're helping them launch their memberships before they've even created them. And so it's really exciting time right now, and I'm gearing up for it and can't wait.
Oh, that is so awesome. And that's what happened when we met the first time, right? I remember listening to one of your workshops together with Carrie Green, it was Female Entrepreneur Association. And during that one, I launched, the founding member launch and had our first member join, and the rest is history. So I want to hear everything about the book, and I want to hear everything about the workshop and how you actually launch even before you have anything. So where do we start? Maybe we start with the book first, and you just tell
Okay.
me a little bit about the book and a little bit what drove you to write it, and how is that leading into this workshop that we are about to see.
Well, I have had the honor and privilege of helping people launch their memberships for over 17 years now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And so that has meant, I've helped tens of thousands of people in all kinds of different markets. And I've just seen the transformational power of a membership. Like the number one stressor, survey after survey of business owners reveals that the number one stressor is finances. Like, where is that next sale going to come from? And so many people experience that stress because they have a business model that's set up for one-time transactions and they just are hoping that customers are going to come back and buy from them again. Well, that's why I wrote this book, because we don't need to hope anymore. Like with a membership, you're not hoping, you have the certainty of knowing that sales are going to be there at the beginning of the month, regardless of whether you go out and do any additional effort to acquire new customers. And that relieves a ton of stress. And in today's uncertain times, the one thing that we crave as as business owners is certainty. And so that's what memberships bring. And that's why I wrote the book. I just want to get it in the hands of as many people as possible. So it's my 17 years of experience distilled down into 250 pages. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm getting, incredible comments back from people. One review recently, literally this was days ago on Amazon, said, "This is the first book that I've read front to back in 2 years." And that's a win. That's a huge success for me. So yeah, that's the reason I wrote it. It's just I need to get this message in front of as many business owners as possible.
Yeah, and I have to say, you bring hope to so many of us. And again, I think it's one thing to talk about revenue streams and revenue models, but as you said, you've got so much experience, so we know it works. I've seen it myself being part of your community over these years, and people launching the smallest and tiniest of memberships, and suddenly they take off, and it's up and down and up and down, and suddenly it clicks, and then suddenly, boom, it just goes super, super big. But what you've
Yeah.
told me was that you actually don't need to have a very large membership for it to actually sustain yourself. So would you mind talking a little bit about that?
Well, see, just through the nature of memberships, it's though every customer that joins your membership, they are now going to be paying you every single month to have continued access to your membership. It's a lot like Netflix and Spotify and all these great services that we use. We pay for them on a monthly basis. If we stop paying, well, we don't have access anymore. And the same is true inside of your membership. But the reality of what that does for you and I as business owners is transformational. Because as you said, we don't need a lot of members for it to begin to have a real impact. Like with just 20 members at $50 a month in the membership, That's $1,000 a month of additional revenue. And that can begin to have a huge impact. And that's just with 20 members. And so I share this because the compounding nature of memberships and subscriptions can have a massive impact on businesses. And it can, for the entrepreneur, begin to generate consistent, reliable, predictable revenue. And that gives us now the confidence to be able to invest in our marketing or hire a team, knowing that the money is going to be there. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't take a lot to have a huge impact. It can start having a profound impact with just 20 members at $50 a month.
Yeah, and again, when we started, we had those first members. It was for a mastermind. We had 20 members too, and and those were international from different countries. So, but that led to Swedish courses, to Swedish coaching and training, well paid, which then led to a Swedish membership, which is now leading into an entirely new business model, which is more like a creative chamber of commerce, where we are bridging the gap between the artists and the creators, the tech companies and techies, and investors. So suddenly we no longer have only freelancers, we also have startups and scale-ups and investors in our network. So, but it started with that one member. And I'm saying this to our community because I just want people to understand that often we overcomplicate things so much. Your book that you've written, as you say, the reviews have just been, they're off the charts, and I'm not surprised. You also actually, and I also want to give people some insight about this. We will talk more about other things on this call, but pay attention to how Stu also did the book launch, because we have a lot of book authors in our community, and they are asking a lot of questions like, how do we launch a book? What do we do? And you did it so smartly. Can you say that? You were very in a very smart way. But moving on. So, Stu, predictable profits and revenue generate, how you generate revenue, leading into also this workshop that's coming around the corner. Can you talk a little bit about what you're going to cover in that workshop and what people can expect?
Yeah, well, first things first, I think, a lot of people have questions. Is my market a good market for a membership? So we're going to cover about that, and we're going to talk about that in the very first session. And from there, we'll build and we'll talk about, okay, let's identify the characteristics of a great market. And now let's go and launch your membership. And I know that a lot of people watching will be like, wait a minute, what launch? I don't have anything created yet. I don't have everything fleshed out yet. Like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Well, I'm going to walk you through a process where you're going to float an idea out there to your audience. And what's going to happen is you're going to learn something very important. You're going to learn right away whether what you're saying is in alignment with what your market wants. And if it's in alignment, people will raise their hand and they'll say, yeah, I want to be a part of that, which is awesome, because now you're going to have paying members of your membership before you've even created anything. But what if somebody doesn't raise their hand? What if you don't get any response? Does that mean that your idea sucks or that you suck? No, not at all. What it means is what you're saying is out of alignment with what the market wants. And isn't it a good thing, a great thing, in fact, to find that out before you go and spend a whole bunch of time, energy, and money in creating something that the market doesn't even want? Of course. So as the great Nelson Mandela once said, you're either going to win or you're going to learn. But both of those things are going to move you forward. And that's what I'm excited about. And then in the third part of the workshop, we'll get into the whole blueprint of a membership. Like, what are the key components of a membership and how does it thrive long term? We'll talk about that.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'd like also to add to what you just said. I guess you could think about memberships in slightly different ways, either as a freelancer or a solo creator. Again, we've got so many of them here. There are stats saying, Stu, that there are 90% of workers within the cultural and creative industries in Europe, for instance, are freelancers. So we do know that there are so many individual solo creators that are looking for new ways to monetize and to figure out how to survive, especially now with AI. But we also know from the startup scene that for them to attract investors and to attract funding, they need to be able to show that they have predictable income. So I'm
Mm.
mentioning it to our startups in this community too, and for those of you who are actually looking for investors or even looking for exits further down the line, to pay attention to what Stu is saying. You should totally go to these workshops, because the revenue model of a membership and subscription is by far, I'd say it's the best one. Wouldn't you agree? Or maybe you.
100%. I mean, and when we're talking about selling a company,
Yeah.
if you have a company that's selling that has the same amount of sales, but one company is dependent on going out and finding new business every single month, and another company has predictable, stable, recurring revenue, which one's more attractive? It's the stable, recurring revenue one, and that's why they typically get a much higher multiple than a company who may have the exact same sales but does not have a recurring revenue model. So the more recurring revenue that you produce in your company, the safer it becomes for investors and the more attractive it becomes, which is why they're willing to pay a premium for that business. So yes, as a SaaS, as a startup, as an entrepreneur, we all need more recurring revenue in our business. And that's certainly why I'm a big fan of it and why I talk about it, because I want every entrepreneur to have it in their business of some kind.
Yeah, and speaking to that, is there a way that you can combine subscription models with other kinds of products and services? And can you give a few examples of what that might look like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think at the end of the day, there are multiple types of memberships. You know, we have product-based memberships. So that's where you're sending a physical product on a monthly basis. The Dollar Shave Club is a great example of that. They took, razors, and instead of hoping that customers come back and buy them again, they created a membership. And so people pay a monthly fee and they get sent razors every single month. And there's all kinds of physical product memberships. There's service-based memberships. I think of our Mary Claire Fredette in our community. She's a massage therapist. Again, instead of hoping that clients come back and purchase her massage services each month, she set up a membership and they pay a fee, a monthly fee, and they get a certain number of massages. And it's beneficial for the client because they actually get a slight discount. And it's beneficial for her because she has predictable, stable income coming in each and every month. And we see service-based memberships with like massage therapists, barber shops, car washes, you name it. It can be turned into a service-based membership. Then there's knowledge-based memberships. This is the playground that I spend the most time in. It's where we're sharing our knowledge, our expertise, our wisdom, and we're doing one of three things. We're either helping solve an ongoing problem, like weight loss, as an example. Somebody's not going to go from being overweight to their ideal weight like that. It takes time to solve that problem. That's why it's great for a membership. Or we're going to be teaching a skill. Somebody's not going to go from not knowing how to paint to becoming a great artist like that. It takes time to learn those skills. Perfect for a membership. Or we're going to be creating convenience or making someone's life easier with either templates or lesson plans or swipe files or prompts or scripts, things that people can use on a regular basis that save them time. So I think about Tara Phillips in our community. She was an educator for 25 years in a classroom with kids with autism. Over those years, she developed resources to make things easier for her and to create activities for the kids. And then she had this light bulb moment, which was, oh my gosh, wait a minute. There's probably a lot of other educators that could benefit from these same lesson plans that I've created. So she started a membership. And now this past year, she crossed the $1 million milestone in that membership. She's providing lesson plans to other teachers who work with kids with autism. And so if we can solve an ongoing problem or teach a skill or make someone's life easier, those are all great knowledge-based memberships. And then the last one is a community-based membership. This is where people pay to join and be part of a community of other like-minded individuals. See, this is one of the reasons that I love the internet, because, growing up, if you had, a peculiar interest, and you were the only one in your community that had that interest, you kind of like were an outsider. You kind of just kept it to yourself. But thanks to the internet, like the internet brings all of us weirdos and wackos together, and we can have the craziest of interests. And there are thousands of people worldwide who share the same interest. So if we can create a spot for everybody to gather and hang out, then we can charge for that, and people are more than willing to pay for it. So there's all kinds of different types of memberships: the product base, service base, knowledge base, and community base. And then, of course, you've got your software platforms that are SaaS, where you're charging on a monthly basis in order to access a tool or resource. These are all different types of memberships, but they all produce recurring revenue. And more importantly, they can all be deployed in virtually any kind of business. And so hopefully this gets the wheels turning for everybody watching and listening to identify, like, okay, what type of membership am I leaning towards? Is it a product base, service base, knowledge base, community base, or SaaS? But start thinking about it, because the more recurring revenue you have in the business, the more stable your business will be.
Yeah, and I think maybe also you need to try things out. As ever since I got to meet you, I think I've tried all sorts of memberships. It's been up and down and on and off, and I think this is like the third one now. But third one is a charm, right? But yeah, we
Uh,
be here had we not done the first one, and I've always known that the community would tell me what they wanted. So
yeah.
what we've discovered is that we have this loyal base of customers and clients who, as you said, they come together because they don't want to go about it themselves. They come together as a community, and they tell us, in this case, me and us in my company, what they want, and then we can build for that. So I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of the community model. But speaking to that, Stu, what would you say? I mean, to people listening right now, we work with photographers and musicians and artists and creators and all sorts of creative and people who think outside the box. But what often comes with that too is sometimes a sensibility, and there also comes a doubt. It's like, who am I to launch a membership? The gremlins that we talk about. What
Yeah.
would you say to people who question themselves and say, but why would people pay for anything that I have? Or if they are an entertainer, for instance, why would people, and how would I even go about it? What should they do? Where should they start?
Well, I'll just tell you, in our community, the memberships that are succeeding the most are in the creative space. Like,
Hmm.
I think of Bonnie Snowden, who's over in the UK, and she has a membership, and she shared on her Instagram that she launched that membership site in 2021. By
Mm.
2023, that was $1 million a year membership. And
Yeah.
today, that's a $2 million plus membership.
Yeah.
And she's in a very creative space. Listen to how specific her market is. She teaches people how to draw realistic animals with colored pencils. Like,
Oh,
it is so specific, but
yeah.
that's part of the magic. And why she's thrived is because people know exactly what they're going to get. And what is she doing? She's teaching a skill. She's teaching a skill of how to draw these realistic animals with colored pencils. And so, what I would say to anybody in the creative space is that you've learned a lot in your journey already, whether you realize it or not. And there
Mm.
are people that are at the very beginning stages of learning what it is that you have probably spent years learning. And so, when we ask, like, do you have value to bring to them? 100%, because you can compress time. You can take what is maybe taken years to learn, and you can help somebody learn it in a much shorter period of time. And so I just want to encourage people, because there's that side of the story. The other side of the story is you may not be the expert, and that's okay. You can
Mm.
also just be an advocate or an enthusiast of a particular topic. I think of John Gallagher. He started his membership not as the expert. He just had a passion for learning about natural herbs and remedies. And so he approached the membership from that curious mindset of his members, like wanting to learn and getting stuck and, hey, I don't get this. And he brought in outside experts to come in and help be able to explain and teach. He was the curator of that experience. So you don't have to be the expert. You could also be the curator. And then the third option is you can always partner. Like I think of Scott Paley. He's not the face of his membership. He doesn't teach inside his membership. He partnered with a woman named Joan Gary, who is an expert in specifically helping nonprofits. And so she teaches the material, he launches and runs the membership. And together, they've built a multi-million-dollar a year membership. They have more than 6,000 plus members, where Scott, he's not the expert, he's not teaching anything, but he's running the business behind the scenes. So there's lots of different options. You as the subject matter expert, you as a curator, or you as a partner, all options work. But the thing that we're doing at the end of the day is we're helping people make progress in their life, learn a skill. And especially in the creative markets, that's where these memberships are thriving the most. Whether it's learning how to paint, whether it's learning how to draw, whether it's learning how to craft, there's all kinds of examples of this. And the creative memberships are the ones that are thriving right now.
Oh, that is so amazing to hear, because there is so much doom and gloom, and we hear a lot about a lot of negative stuff coming up, and people are worried, and they're worried about AI, things that are happening in the world. But I see the same things that you say right now. And again, you don't need that kind of a big membership either. It could be just a little bit that will sustain you every month.
Totally.
The bigger ones that you mentioned, I've seen them too as part of your community, and it's brilliant to see, you know, people trying on and off like we've done here, because you're trying, you're pivoting. I was about to do blog sidestep part web boxing, but it's a little bit the same. You try it out, you test it, you see, you get feedback, you tweak it, and then when it hits and you get that message right, then suddenly it takes off. So listen, I'm so happy that you are here with me again this year. I would like to, because I know we're coming up to the end of this call. Again, first of all, for people listening, do check out the workshop. You can find it on artsdynamics.com/Stu, where we'll make sure that you have all the information, and we'll post it everywhere. But Stu, given the fact that you're not only a membership expert, you also have your own membership platform, the membership.io. This is where we are hosting our community. This is where we are going to grow now our community too in the next stage and phase of everything. What do you see future trends wise in the tech space, being a tech entrepreneur and founder too, and also how we can use your platform?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. What I'm seeing as a founder of a SaaS platform is that incorporating AI is not a nice to have, it's a must have now. Whereas like a year ago, if you had AI, you know, baked into the software, that was like a, you know, a flashy, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But now it's almost like what we call a trash feature. It's like, it's just almost now at the point where people expect there to be AI elements woven right into the software. And so I think what we are focused on is the evolution of that AI in the software, and looking to see how the AI can do a lot more of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. It's not necessarily like a flashy feature, but it's more of like, how do we smooth the process by using AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes? So I'll give you an example. So for us, when it came to using our platform to launch a community, it used to take 12 steps, which that's a lot, you know? Now our team is in the midst of revamping this. It's going to go from 12 steps to 3. And so a lot of all of that heavy lifting and decision making is now going to be done and made because of AI. And so now, instead of you having to think about how you wanted to design this, or who the membership is going to be for, or what content you should do, or what conversations you should start in the community, you're literally going to describe who it is that you're serving, and AI is going to do all of that heavy lifting behind the scenes. So what we're doing is we're compressing time, and we're making decision making easier for our customers. And I think that's what we got to do is, as entrepreneurs, if you've got a software platform, it's how can you use AI to streamline the experience and make it easier for people to make decisions. And so that's where our heads are at, and that's where we're putting a lot of focus. And it's really exciting because I know that in doing that, it's going to get people to the end result a lot faster and a lot easier. The end result is they've launched their membership and it's thriving. Amazing, right? Like we want to use AI to give them their time back so they can use that time to their advantage, which is the human connection. It's like we use AI to create time. And once we've created that time, we need to use the time in a human to human way. And that's how we win long term. And that's how we separate ourselves. So that's what we're trying to do for our clients and customers with our platform. And it's a really exciting time.
Woo, I just got the tingle. This is so exciting. You know, I love your platform, and we are super pumped also for our new founding member launch that's just around the corner, where we will all jump into this next step. And your AI and the way you're using it for the tracks and for all this intel, and you've now got the community forum and obviously
Yes.
membership directory and everything is just, I have to say, Stu, this is the best platform I've seen, and I've investigated a lot. So for people listening, also because there is a very low entry point as well if they want to use it. So I just want to throw that into the mix for those that are like, I don't know where to put my content. It's like, you should go to membership.io, you should read the book, you should listen to Stu, because it works, and we are living proof that it does. So
No, thank you, Sofie.
thank you. And I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got more interviews today, but again, thank you so, so much, Stu. I am super excited about this year's launch and to see what you've got cooking in everything that's coming around the corner.
Well, I appreciate it, Sofie. Thank you. And I just want to encourage everybody to come join us for the workshop, because we'll help you get the clarity around your membership idea. We'll help you launch it, and we'll help you cast the vision of where it will go and how to make it a huge success. So come join us. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, boom. Let's say that and see you at the workshops too. See you,
All
everybody.
right. Thanks, Sofie.
Thank
See you.
you.